Myself Bhagyashree, and today I'm going to cover the interview question on the Azure, which is asked many company. And let's start on that. What is the Azure Integration Services? So Azure Integration Services is a set of cloud-based integration tools and services provided by the Microsoft Azure, enabling seamless connectivity between the application, data sources, and services across on-premises and cloud environment. And if you want to see the screen as well as like the application and the Azure portal, what the services and what we have to use, how to create, then please comment it down. I will create in the next video with the application also. Right now I'm covering the question which is asked. Second question, I can say what are the key component of Azure integration services. Integration means you are integrating one of the application to the another for the services purpose. So it in the Azure we have a compiler services like Azure Logic Apps, Azure Service Bus, Azure Functions, Azure API Management, Azure Event Grid, and Azure Event Hub. So these are the services which we can integrate with the other application. Next question we have, how does AIS facilitate application integration? AIS nothing but I can say what I'm using a short form for the Azure Integration Services. So you understood like when I am using the AIS facility, AIS word. So it allow for the I can say creation of the workflow, messaging, API management, and event-driven architecture, streamlining the integration process between the various application and system. Streamlining like Kafka we are using like I can say you are watching the live stream application or live stream apps on that this will be used. Next question in the topic of I can say Azure Logic Apps. Azure Logic Apps I can say if they are asking basically it is using for the triggering an action, like you have to trigger the email, like you are getting the email when you are joining your company, welcome and all. So that will be we can create from the Logic App I can say. So first of all, what is the Logic App? Logic App is a service that automate the workflow and orchestrate process, allowing you to integrate apps, data, system, and services across the enterprises or the organization. Next question on that Logic App have like how do Logic App function within the AIS? So they enable the creation of workflow using the Visual Designer, connecting disparate system and application using the pre-built connector. And once again, I'm telling if you want to see how this Logic app will be created, how we are integrating in the Azure portal, please comment it down. I will be creating the next video. Next question we have, can Logic app interact with the on-premises system? Yes, obviously. Logic app can integrate with the on-premises system through the use of the on-premises data gateway. Next topic we have Azure Service Bus. As a name suggests, Service Bus, it is basically used for the messaging, I can say communication purpose. So I can say it is a fully managed enterprise message broker service used to decouple the application and services. Decouple means you have to be create the separate API level. I can say decoupling like you are creating the more isolated way. This that like they are not dependency having over there. Next question on that, service bus ensure the message delivery. How does it is happening? So I can say yeah, that will be provided with the help of features like we have in the Azure service bus, queue and topic. Queue basically one to one, topics for the one to many like that. And subscription to guarantee reliable message delivery between the different component of an application or between different application. Next we have a Azure function. Azure function is like serverless compute services that allow you to run event trigger code without explicitly provisioning or managing the infra. In the simple word, I can say you have to be take the past services from that. You are like developer only dedicating or having to only focusing on the code. Don't have to worry about the infra scalability, reliability, and all. All this take care of this Azure infra. You have to be only focusing on your logics in the Azure functions. Next question on that, how can Azure function be integrated with the AIS? They can be used within the logic apps or other services in AIS to execute the specific function in response to event or trigger. Basically, why we are using the logic app? Logic app basically using to perform the some action or some event trigger over there. So when we are triggering any event from the logic app, we can integrate our Azure function also on that time. Next topic we have on that I can send Azure API management. These are the concept or these are the topic which is broadly asked in interview in the Azure one. I can say if you are preparing or you are looking out that. So I'm covering all the main topic. So in the Azure API management, what is providing? So it's services that help in the creation, publishing, and managing of API, providing functionality like security, rate limiting, and analytics. So all these features we can provide from this Azure portal, with rate limiting, and after the like we are when we are deploying our API over there, we have like services over there. We can test over there. We can see with the help of matrices or logging. I can say what is the if any error or anything we have a issue on our APIs. Then next question on that, how does API management integrate with the AIS? Management allow AIS to expose the API securely, manage their life cycle, and monitor usage and performance. So basis on this, it will be integrated. Next topic we have a Azure Event Grid. As the name suggests, it is a grid. Event Grid is a fully managed event routing services that simplify the development of event-based application. Event routing services means you have to pass the some services, and for the services you have to have some route or some path. So how we are getting that? So this Azure Event Grid provide a route or way for passing or for performing that event services that simplify the development of event-based applications. It is basically routing services. Routing means you are using the .NET application, creating the any application on the .NET. You are providing the like which action or which API will be getting a call. When we are using the API, we are providing the root mechanism over there. Or when we are getting the MVC application, there is a controller mechanism, and calling that controller, we have providing the root over there. So similarly here, that event routing services used in the Azure Event Grid. Next question on that, how does Event Grid contribute to AIS? It enables the capture and processing of event in near and real time, facilitating the event-driven architecture within an IS. Event-driven architecture like Azure Functions. Next topic we have next question like for the integration pattern. So, what integration pattern does AIS support? It supports the various patterns such as pub sub model. I can say publish subscribe model, like you have a, for example, YouTube have a, if I am having YouTube and I have multiple subscribers, it is a pub sub model, point to point model, request reply or request response model, or event driven architecture. So this all these services provided or supported in this AIS, I can say Azure one. Next we have a which pattern is suitable for async communication in an IS. PubSub is pattern where one sender publishes message to multiple subscriber is often used for the async communication. It is the best suited example. Next for the monitoring and managing. So how can AIS component be monitored? Like we are integrating services, we are deploying our services. If any issue is happening, then how can we know like it is having some problem on this Azure function, on Azure app, on Logic app having some issues? How can we see that if anything is not acting properly? So we have over there Azure Monitor provide the monitoring capability to track the performance and health of AIS component, offering the insight into system behavior and resource utilizations. Next, we have a can alert we set up for the IS component. Yes, I already told like when we are creating the Azure API. So over there we have create the rule over there like, or I can say there is a request response capacity over there. So when you are creating the rule for like if anything is happening this type of scenario, then we can get the email over there. So alert rule is nothing but I can say we are creating the rule or request when we are receiving a request or anything is happening over there, we are setting the request. If it is a greater than one count or greater than two count, then we are setting the message over there like it is an unauthorized error, 401 type of error we are getting in this type of action or this type of request we are getting. So all this mechanism we can set in the alert rule for the API, because I already working on the API, so that's why I'm telling this other scenario where we can set the alert rule. So it is like alert based on the defined threshold for the various matrices, enabling the proactive management of AIS resources. Next question we have a hybrid integrations. Um Before that, I think most of the monitoring and major services which cover like what is the main definition over there. Next we have a hybrid integration. So On that, I can say how does AIS facilitate the hybrid integration. So it provides tools like Azure Hybrid Connector and Azure Data Factory to seamlessly integrate on-premises system with the cloud-based services. Sometime right now, like most of the organization, they are using the Azure cloud services for migrating their data from on-premises to cloud one. So these are the connection, or these are the facility which we can take from this AIS. Then next we have like how what is the role does Azure Hybrid Connection play in AIS? Azure Hybrid Connection enables secure and easy access from Azure to on-premises system without requiring the complex firewall or network configurations. Then after the hybrid one, we have a problem, or we have a challenges for the security mechanism for these services. That can be also help, or I can say we are supporting, we are getting solution from this Azure one. Then how we are setting over there. So yeah, again question in the security and compliances, how does AIS ensure the security in integration? So it provide, I can say, security features such as the encryption, identity and access management. You are creating your storage, your container, so who can access it? There is a identity access management. On that we are providing the role read or write. Then again we have a role based access control, compliance and certification. We have Azure Active Directory, like who can access this application, these services. Basis on that user ID we are adding over there, that person will be getting access over. Then next question on that security, can AIS integrate with the existing identity management system? Yes, AIS supports the integration with the Azure Active Directory and other identity provider for secure access control and authentication. As I already discussed, Azure Active Directory we are using for this security purpose. Next, which we can say data integration. So data integration is a major component for the two application. So on that, how the question is arrived. The question is like how does AIS handle the data integration between the different system? So that will be, I can say, leverage services like Azure Data Factory to extract the transfer and load ETL data between the various sources and destination. As the name suggests, it is a data factory, so that's why as a name they are keeping over there, and that perform the action, or that perform the services over there for integration the data from the source to destination. Next question, what type of data integration pattern does Azure Data Factory support? That support pattern like batch, incremental, or real-time data integration, catering to different data integration needs. Then after the data integration, we have next topic like development and customization. It is like we already use some which is already they are providing, but again we have to be some as customization as our like I created one of the Azure function. I need some our expertise or our logic over there. So how can we do that? So that yeah, we can customize functions in the Azure Logic app or some other Azure functions. So yeah, can custom connector be built for the Azure Logic app? Yes, custom connector can be built using the Azure API management, allowing integration with the use custom API or services. Again, I'm telling if you want to demo on that this type of question which we are seeing here for the practical development, practical video, please comment it down. Next question, are there any programming language specific to AIS? Yes. We have like in the Azure, I can say C Sharp language, JavaScript language, Python, .NET Core, TypeScript and all. So yeah, this is a not like for the one language, support the multiple programming language for the flexibility in development with the version also. Then after the development, we have a scaling up performance. So how does AIS handle the scaling during the increased workload? What happens sometime if any offer is going on any e-commerce website, then most of the customer is hitting the same website or using the same request or using the same website again and again. So on that, how to handle the scaling? So yeah, we have this scaling services in the Azure. It is scaled based on the demand, ensuring the optimal performance even during spike in users. I can say we have a auto scale property over there, but that will be based on the like what services like you are having a what subscription. Basis on that, it will be facilitated. Next question: are there any limitation in terms of scalability within AIS? While services within AIS offer scalability, yeah, it is essential to consider the service limit and code specific to each services for the optimal performance planning. Because of the price tier, I can say that's why they are giving the limitation. If this is a price tier on these services, you can use this scalability options. Next, we have a cost management. In the cost management, how is pricing structure in Azure integration services? So again, it will be based on the factor like usage, data volume, and the specific services utilized within the integration architecture. Next question: are there any cost optimization strategy for the AIS? Yeah, you can use like utilizing a serverless offering like Azure function and optimizing the resource utilization can help to cost reduction for the AIS implementation. Then after this, I can say what are the best practices for the implementation of the AIS. Implementing the proper authentication, authorization, monitoring, and using the asynchronous communication are among the best practices for the AIS. Because of this, you can scale your application. Next, like we can use the versioning by we managing the AIS. Yes, we have a versioning in the API. If you are using the API services, there is a one of the features, one of the services which we can tick like when we are creating the API. There is an option like you are performing the versioning on the API, yes or no. If you want, you can check box. Otherwise, not. So yeah, versioning API and services, maintaining backward compatibility, utilizing the API management features help manage the version in AIS. Next cover question governance and compliance. How does AI support the governance integration process? It provides the governance capability through the Azure policy, I can say, enabling the organization to enforce the compliance and operational standards. Next question in that I can say is AIS complement with industry standard and regulation? Yes. It also follow the various industry standard and certification like GDPR, HIPAA, SO, SOC, etc., ensuring the compliance and data security. Then after that, our major task like for the recovery purpose, most of the services we are using from the cloud because of the data recovery and backup. I can say what happens sometime our physical server is not working or some due to the some power failure, some network issue, our data is crashed. Then how we are getting the same data? So avoiding this type of scenario, cloud is the best. And Azure Cloud is the best because it provides the facility for the recovery and redundancy because it provides the replication for the same data. So Azure offers the redundancy and backup failure for the AIS component, ensuring the data integrity and availability even in the case of failure. Can AIS support the geo replication for the critical? Yes. As I mentioned, if anything is happening, any issue is happening, we have a three location: geo, local, and zone one. So yeah, geo replication one of them, and it provides the data redundancy across the multiple Azure region for the critical integration. Next question, we have a troubleshooting and debugging. Yes. How can issue in integration flow be identified within AIS? Diagnostic logging, monitoring tool like Azure Monitor, addressing capability within services, add and identifying and resolving the integration process or issues. So on that we can achieve. Next question on that: are there logic tool? Are there a tool for the debugging workflow in the Azure Logic app? Yes, Logic app runs and history can be examined in detail, providing the insight into execution steps, input, output, and error for the debugging purpose. So yeah, we have. Then after that, we can see migration and integration strategy. So yeah, over there I can say the question they are asking. Sorry. What factors should be considered when migrating to areas? Understanding the existing integration, architecture, mapping dependency, and evaluate compatibility with the Azure services are crucial factors. Like what is the version system you have and what is the Azure supporting. So you have to check all the stuff because any version specific or any dependency will be if you are missing that will be not work properly. You have to map according that. Can AIS integrate with the next question? The can AIS integrate with the existing middleware or ESB system? Yes. Because of this Azure cloud is coming. If you have already existing scenario, existing application, existing data, you are trying to migrate on the cloud. So yeah, that facility we have. Next we have a vendor locking. So how can vendor locking mitigate within IIS? Utilizing industry standard protocol, adhering to open standard and maintaining the modular architecture can reduce the dependency on a specific vendor. Next question, is it possible to migrate away from the AIS to other platform? Yeah, while possible to ease of the migration may vary based on the complexity of the integration and dependency of the specific AIS services. The next major concern about the performance optimization. It is a very important point. I can say anything you are creating, that should be have a performance optimization, that should be very good in the performance, I can say. So the question is like, what strategy can be employed for the optimizing the AI's performance? So you can use like caching mechanism in the Azure, as well as you are creating a normal application over there, you also maintaining the caching. So optimizing code and query and leveraging the asynchronous process can significantly enhance the performance. Next on that, I can say, are there any tool for the performance monitoring within AIS? Yes, performance monitoring purpose, we have a tool. I can say matrices and insight into resources utilization, adding performance optimization. As I already told, if you are having a subscription, you can see there is a Azure API management. There you are creating the there you are creating the alert rule and all. In the left side, you can see the matrices also. Over there you can see what is the performance, what is the usage, how many API is working or running over there. Then after that we have a life cycle management. So in the life cycle management of integration managed within AIS, yes, with the help of DevOps practice, version control, automated testing, and continuous integration and deployment pipeline contribute to effective life cycle management. Next question on that: can AI support the blue green deployment for integration? Yes. In the deployment slot, we have a two environment: staging environment, production environment, like that. Over there, you are using that services. Because of that, you don't have a downtime, because one of the environment always is taking the feedback and working on that, and one is working on the live one. After taking the feedback, we work on that, we can solve that problem, and again we can just switch the environment. So yeah, so there is a no have to take a downtime for the, like, traditionally we are taking a downtime, we are working on the night and waiting to like all the customer were not using the application, then we can do the our deployment. So on that, it will be like hectic. But now with the help of deployment slot, blueprint environment, we don't have to be so like that. Then next we have like training and support for the Azure side. Yeah, we have a tutorial, documentation. You have a Git repository. If you're not having a getting a some problem, you can raise a issue on the Git, and the team will be getting notified and they will solving. I'm also doing the same thing in the Azure side. So yeah. Next question: does Microsoft offer support for the AIS implementation? Yes. Then next question on that: does Microsoft offer support for AIS? Yes. Then use cases on industry application. I can say what are the some common use cases for the Azure integration services. So use cases, I can say IoT device integration, data migration, real time analytics, and business process automation. Which industry benefit most from the Azure integration services? Most of the industries, but like healthcare, finance, manufacturing, retail, and logistic benefit significantly from the AI due to their complex integration requirement across the system and services. So these are the basic, I can say, high level of question which is asked in the Azure interview, cloud interview. And if you are preparing for that, and please look into this problem, look into this type of question, and you will definitely get succeeded. I created this document, I can say, because I face this type of questions, and that's why I'm sharing with you all. And if you want to more practical on this, I can say, so I can provide the video on that also. And by the way, I'm already Microsoft certified with, I can say, AZ204, A0, AZ305, like Azure Developer and Azure Solution Architect from the Microsoft certified. So I have knowledge on that. I already working on that in the Azure product. And if you have any doubt, any question, any query, please comment it down. I will try to help it out from my side. Meeting in the next video. Thank you.